See, I'm out of sorts too. All right, welcome into the final yard. I'll get this straight eventually. Miami Dolphins lose. This season is effectively over. I'm gonna call it. I
Yep.
mean, I think it was pretty obvious prior to this. I got Eric Wiedeke. You can follow me at Eric Wiedeke. You can follow me at Ethan and at Five Reasons Sports. The Dolphins don't get the ball back at the end, as if that wasn't predictable. This might have been the worst run defense I've seen them play in a couple of decades. They turned Rico Dowdell into Earl Campbell, pretty much.
Yep.
The difference, the rush yards today, and we'll get to our sponsor here in a second, but what did it end up? Like 255 or something to 19?
19. Yep.
Um, I don't know that I've ever seen that before. And again, just at the top, and we'll take everybody's comments. You can put them on here, and we'll post them. This is the end, I think. It's clearly the end of this season. You're not coming back from this. You're 1-4. You got the Chargers coming in next week, and you've already lost 3 games on this schedule that we didn't think they were likely to lose before the season started. And today, there are just really no excuses. I'm going to go through it. 19. And then the rush yards for the Panthers today, 239. Rico Dowdell, 206. Trevor Etienne, 22. Jimmy Horn had 10. Bryce Young had 1. Carolina wins with Bryce Young throwing for under 200 yards. And with Tua, 27 of 36 for 256 and 3 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. I don't know how people are going to blame him today. Somebody will find a way, but he threw the touchdown pass to Waddle after things, got sticky there for about a quarter and a half. He threw the touchdown pass that last drive. I don't know what he could have done there. And there was some play calling and some decision making. Like, for instance, I will be curious to see when people smarter than me, perhaps on 3 yards per carry, or Eric or somebody else, will take a look at what exactly happened with Darren Waller in the second half, whereas he was not targeted. First half, he was pretty dominant, and then after that couldn't get anything done. All right, we are sponsored here by Prize Picks, and then we'll get to everybody's comments. I just want to give everybody a breath here. Use the code 5FIVE. If you see another code in there, enter our code FIVE. That gives you the best deal. It gives us the best deal. You get $50 in lineups to play right away, and pretty much if you're a Dolphin fan, that's all there is to do the rest of the season. Your initial thoughts, Eric, on, again, what I'm calling a season-breaking and should be an era-breaking loss.
Yeah. So my thoughts on this game were, the first half of this game, or really first quarter and a half of this game, the Dolphins did come out. They looked like the much better team. And I don't know what it is. Mike McDaniel came out of the half talking about he wanted to establish the run and he wanted to get physical in the run game when they had not been running the football well whatsoever. Completely, as you mentioned, got away from Darren Waller when I don't really think there was a reason to. I don't think Carolina really did anything to adjust to it. The throw to Waddle was deep, kind of more up the seam than down the sideline anyway. So it seems like it was open then. I don't know if it wouldn't have been open earlier on in the game. But my overall thoughts on this game are offensively, I think in different circumstances, this would be somewhat encouraging. But you can't look at Mike McDaniel in the way that he called this game in the second half and think anything positive there. Sure, Waddle played really well thrown into that wide receiver 1 role. Darren Waller looked like a Pro Bowler. Tua probably had his best game of the year without Tyreek Hill. All those things are positives, but then I look at literally every other facet of the game, and it's all negative. The run defense, I don't know what to say about it, and you've got Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers coming in next week.
Yeah,
and volumes better running the football than Carolina.
But Carolina didn't even have their lead back. I mean, let's just be honest here. I mean, Dowdell is their second back for a reason. I mean, they didn't have Hubbard, and I'm looking at the defensive statistics here, and obviously the tape will tell more. But where's Zach Sealer been this season? Has anybody seen him? Again, 13 tackles for Jordan Brooks, but these tackles are like way the hell downfield. Dodson had 4 tackles. Has Minka made a couple? Minka's made like 2 plays that I remember this entire year. He had 1 pass defense today and 9 tackles.
He had the interception today, and that was it.
Oh, that's right. The pick, right? Of course, yeah. No, he did. But I'm looking at the rest of this. Like, okay, Chubb had a sack. Chop had a bad penalty late in the game. They had a couple of penalties. Jack Jones was holding on for dear life the whole game.
Yep.
I mean, I think Rasul Douglas has been really good. Jack Jones has been okay, but today not so great. This comes in. Zach got paid as a non-existent player. The ineptitude of the Dolphins' trench play needs to be studied, and that's on the run defense. And we'll get to the other side of this. But the thing about it to me, first thing, Anthony Weaver is promotion to temporary head coach. Take that off the table. Like, you cannot do that. I mean, that's a joke. I mean, you can't. This isn't even a Todd Bowles situation at this point.
But I mean, is there anybody on the staff right now that you look at and you say, yeah, that guy's a competent?
I mean, Bevel, I guess. Maybe you give it to Bevel and you let him go with Tua, but you cannot reward Weaver for this defense. I mean, this is not an elite offense you're going against. This is a bottom 5 offense, really, that the Panthers have. They don't have a ton of traditional playmakers. I mean, McMillan made some plays early in this game. This is, again, not a team with elite guys. They were down to their number 2 back. Bryce Young is a guy who you can't trust. They don't have. It's funny, I was listening to Joe Rose on the way back in Cephalo, and because I was coming back from somewhere, and they were saying they don't. You would pass here, but you don't really have a pass play to go to. They don't. This is not a team in the Panthers. Like, they're going to face a whole different animal, as you mentioned, in the Chargers next week. And then you go to the other side, and this has been the issue with Mike, okay? So, yes, we've called on him to run the ball more, to be more physical, right? But not on days it's not working.
Right.
The problem has been the days that it was working, and then he's gotten away from it. Like you said, why lean into it today? Now, HN only had 10 carries, 14 carries. But, by the way, Ollie Gordon, like, 3 carries, -2 yards today. He's been we pumped him up on the pregame show again. I'm done with that. It's clear that they're not going. They can't figure out a way to feature him. And again, I'm going to defer to Coach Eric on this one. But the guard play to me looks just dreadful. They are getting pushed off the line, and it's not even the pass protection. Although Tua did get sacked 3 times, including at the end. But their run, they're not moving anybody around at all.
It's very funny because we had there was this kind of, cult status amongst a portion of the fan base for a guy like Butch Berry as the O-line coach.
Mm-hmm.
He had moderate success with Austin Jackson, and that's been about it. Everyone else along the line has been not great. Patrick Paul's been decent this year. Aaron Brewer's been pretty good, but your guard play is just catastrophic. Jonas Avenaya needs to sit down. I mean, it's as simple as that.
There you go. There he is. He's weighed in.
I mean, all the pressure that came in today came from the inside. Mm-hmm. Came from the inside, and I don't know how they even attempt to fix that this year, except for maybe. I really don't know. I don't think
you don't fix it this year. This is all about internal improvement, and with a couple more years, can some of these guys develop to competent? Paul better than that, hopefully, but in the way that Austin Jackson did, but you're not fixing that this year, and this is the kind of loss. Okay, you're up 17-0. You're playing a bad team. You look like the better team for the first 2.5 quarters of this game. This is the kind of game that gets a team to quit. It really is. Like, I don't think next week's going to go well. That the Jets win. If you break down the Jets win and why they won that game, first thing, they almost blew it at the end. But even beyond that, okay, it was really the 3 fumbles. That's it, and particularly the fumble on the first drive, which changed the momentum of everything. I'm not taking a win as a win. You take it. But anybody got excited. And if you saw the Jets today, because I was watching at a sports bar, and you watch them against the Cowboys, who I don't think are very good either. And the Dolphins did not beat a competent football team last week.
No,
they didn't play a competent football team this week. And they ultimately proved less competent when their quarterback did not throw a pick, when they got 110 yards from their number 1 receiver, including 6 of 9 of his targets were completed. And I'll go back to this. Tua was 5 of 5 throwing for Waller.
Yep.
And then they never got it to him again. I don't know if his conditioning, I'll be curious again in the postscript of this, why that was. Conditioning, maybe he was bracketed in a certain way, but to not get him involved, like he's the only thing they have to offer right now that is different than what they had before.
But
And they just ignored him.
even if he is bracketed, the guy's 6'6", 240. Let him
Yeah.
go get it. If it's incomplete, it's incomplete. Oh well. And I hate that I even have to ask this question 2 games into his Dolphins career, but you're flipping him at the deadline, right?
Oh, I think you have to.
The way he looks, you have to.
Yeah, I think if you can get a conditional 4th or 5th, I think you just do it. I mean, you're at a pick stacking point of the season, and I mean, let's look at their schedule here, okay? And we're going to talk a little. I mean, I don't even know what to say about the run defense because they couldn't do anything. They were reading the wrong gaps, and then when they actually were in position to make a play, they were getting run over. So I don't even know what you do to fix that. And this is not a 1-game problem. The Jets ran all over them last week. Okay, the fumbles stopped them. That first drive, the Jets had 70 yards on the ground on the first drive. I'm looking at the rest of the schedule here. Okay, this was supposed to be kind of the soft spot. You were supposed to win this game, get to 2-3. You were really supposed to be a 3-2 at this point of the season. Then you get the Chargers. That's a loss. You get the Browns on the road.
You're gonna lose.
I don't know. Probably.
Judkins is running for 250.
Yeah, probably. The Falcons on the road. I don't know if I trust that. The Ravens are horrible right now. I don't. The Dolphins may be able to move the ball against them, but it's a Thursday night game. We know that the Heat. I do this every time. The Dolphins. Sorry, I'm pivoted already. I'm done. Seriously, the Panthers. I'll start substituting with. So I'm looking at the Dolphins situation with the Ravens. Look, they've had trouble with the Ravens before. It's not the same kind of Ravens team. But my thing is, by the time you get to that game, I think this thing is cooked. I think it was cooked today. I don't. The Dolphins. This is not a team that's going to come back from like 1-3 like the Wildcat team did and make. No, they're done. I mean, I don't see anywhere that they go. And this defense, I don't know who they hang their hat on defensively. Who's playing well? Jordan Brooks. I mean, the tackles are all downfield. I don't.
No, I really don't. I don't think there is anyone to hang your hat on defensively. I mean, I guess statistically, Bradley Chubb probably looks the best.
Yeah. Coming off a major knee injury, right?
But yeah, I mean,
Phillips made a play today. I mean,
you're just trying to like hype up the value so that they can get moved. That's really what
I mean. Judon also like he's made one play this season that I can really remember. Rasul Douglas has stepped in and played pretty well. I don't think their corner play was a huge problem today until Jack Jones started again tugging a lot, and that led to that play at the end. But this was just as simple as you kept giving the ball back to them and they just kept running it down your throat. You couldn't do anything about it. And every time the Panthers passed, I was like, what are they doing? Like, seriously, what are they doing? Like, especially when it was stopping the clock. I'm like, just give the ball to Dowdell every single time, Mixon, Etienne. They cannot stop it. This was like high school stuff. You could just have lined them up in a simple formation and just run off tackle the whole damn game, and they were not stopping anybody. And I mean, Zach Sealer needs to get some money back at this point. Like, this has been one of their best stories, and all of a sudden he got paid. And again, he has not. The only play that Zach Sealer has made this year that I can remember is the play where he was late on the punt block, and that ended up essentially costing them a chance at a game. It's bad, and I don't know how we hype it up. I don't know what we look forward to. The idea of the pivoting to young players, a lot of them are playing.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, how can you sit there with a straight face and tell people, well, at least there's Kenneth Grant, Jonas Avenaya, and Ollie Gordon. How?
None of which are doing anything for you right now.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, Kenneth Grant made one play today that I can recall. Yep. And the very crazy thing is I'm looking at their schedule, and they had a kind of a soft schedule this year. I mean, beyond this, we mentioned the Browns, the Falcons are okay. The Ravens are down. Okay, yes, then you get the Bills. The Commanders are good. They're okay. Saints are not good. You're getting them afterwards. Then you were getting the Jets. Okay, then the Steelers. The Bengals don't have Burrow. Then the Bucks. Then the Patriots. Like, this is not a murderer's row schedule. Like, somebody will talk themselves in. Some Dolphin fan will talk themselves into 9-8 this week. And I'm just saying they went up and played a team that is not a very good football team. It's got a young head coach, a quarterback that really can't be trusted. I don't think has another level. And here's the other thing. Of their young guys, like who's going to pop? Like you mentioned it, like, okay, Kenneth Grant may get better as the year goes on. Jonah may get better. I think he needs at least another year before we see any of that. Patrick Paul probably continues to improve, but as the rest of the line collapses around him, it's going to be harder for him to look good. Malik Washington is a guy. He's a nice player. He's a good change of pace guy. He's not going to end up, in my view, being a quality number two receiver for them. Westbrook, he hasn't done anything. And A-Chain, like, he has to be used in a specific way. And he's to me, he's a chess piece. He's not this idea of lining him up and getting him. He's a chess piece, especially when you had Hill and you had Waddle and the rest of the offense was humming. And then all of a sudden, okay, you got to account for this guy who runs that fast. He's faster maybe than all of them, except maybe Hill, or he can outrace Waddle on a good day. Like, that's again. But now, if you're lining him up, and that's how you're going to play physical, and you have a physical back who gets 3 carries for -2 yards.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what do they go to? And their best offensive player, other than Waddle, I guess, is a guy that literally didn't play last year, and we were kind of joking he wouldn't play this year.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at it, there really isn't much of. I really am struggling to find something of redeeming value right now. Now, granted, things could change down the line. Some young players could pop, but the fact of the matter is, if the Jets don't give them that game last week, they're 0-5. And I mean, at this point, I don't think it's a matter of if certain people get fired, but when.
Yeah.
Maybe the playing close versus the Bills for 2.5 quarters and then winning the Jets game saves people their jobs for some weeks. But honestly, I think blowing a 17-point lead to this Panthers team is bad enough to wipe all of that away and then some.
It depends what you're trying to accomplish. That's what I get back to. If what you're trying to accomplish is get a head start on a search, you could do a search anyway, although Ross is very bad at that. Like, we know the whole thing about searching for Harbaugh when he had Sperano and he had Ireland on the plane. It depends what you're trying to start. If you're targeting somebody who's not going to be available until after the season anyway, I guess you could just promote somebody from within or let Mike handle it for a little bit longer. But the promoting from within, again, you can't promote Weaver. Like, the message that sends is ridiculous. Like, it's easier to promote somebody like Darren Bevel, who you could say people don't really know what he does, right? So it's simpler to do that than to promote somebody where you can literally see what's going on here. And I don't think this is a case of the players not playing hard today. I think we may get into the players not playing hard going forward. And some of that is just subconscious because you don't have anything to play for anymore. And you can talk yourself into this schedule, but they're going to be 1-5. So when you're 1-5, you're talking about digging yourself out of this by basically like ripping off 5 out of 6. And I don't care how bad the schedule is, that's not going to happen.
But that's the thing is I'm looking at the schedule, and sure, the teams on themselves don't look all that impressive, but I'm looking at running backs. I'm looking at Omarion Hampton, followed up by Quinson Judkins,
Derrick Henry,
John Robinson, followed by Derrick Henry,
followed by James Cook, followed by I see what you're doing. I know. That's the whole thing here is that they can't. Everybody, the book is out on this team right now. Okay. Yep. They can't stop the run. The problem was supposed to be they couldn't get off the field because their corners were terrible. But it's really, why even bother with that if you could just run it down their throats? Like, they don't even need to get to that. So what's going to end up happening now, and you started to see this at certain points later in the game, but the Panthers aren't really good enough to take advantage of this. Other teams will be. Is that the Dolphins started selling out against the run, and that is going to lead to the big plays that we thought we were going to see earlier in the season. Then on the other side, like, Tua has to play perfect.
Yep.
When he's upright, okay, without the ability to really improvise, and his receivers can't drop anything. And now he doesn't have his really, really, really elite guy, even though Waddle's still pretty good. He played about as well as you could have hoped he would have played under the circumstances today. They still lost to a bad team. I mean, for those who are saying it's all him, I know there will be some who will say, well, if if you're good enough, you will drive your team to a victory in this case. And yes, there were some wasted drives in the second half, absolutely. But he threw the big touchdown he needed to throw. That last drive, again, they got backed up. He got pressure.
The big miss
It just
was the throw to Waddle. That was the one big
yes.
miss from the drive.
But he can't. But the thing is that's where he is right now. And I'm not defending him as an elite guy anymore. I don't think he is what I thought he was, or at least he was a couple years ago, maybe. But he can't miss a throw. That's really where you're at. Like
Right.
they everything is so tight wired for them. Like he has to make every single throw because he can't just hand the ball to somebody and expect the line to get 3 yards of push where his running back gets into the second level and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 2. Okay, and then it's boom, all right, now it's 1st and 10 again. And now you've got the defense on their heels. They don't put the defense on their heels. They haven't put the defense on their heels for 2 years, really.
But I go back to, at least offensively, we can say all that, but then we can still look at the second half, at least the first, I don't know how many drives of the second half, up until maybe that second to last drive. The Dolphins were beating the Panthers in the first half with the intermediate passing game. Forget even Darren Waller. It was Waddle on 10, 15-yard out. That stuff went away too in the second half.
Yep.
And I don't know if they were trying to preserve a lead or what have you, but the idea that, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's so many different angles you can point to and say that they failed here or they failed here. It's I mean, it's just a complete failure all around.
Well, all they got to do to look at how to rebuild this thing, and I think in terms of approach, obviously it's a different way that you go out to get players, but the Canes have built their thing now in the trenches, and we see the results here. Obviously, there's a lot of other factors that go into it, but they've resurrected themselves in that way. Whoever takes over the Dolphins next, it needs to start there. They need to figure this part out.
The other thing that you can point to for that is if you look at all the other Kyle Shanahan disciples out there, and Kyle Shanahan himself, San Francisco, LA, Green Bay, physical in the trenches.
Yep.
All of them.
Yep. No, this team forgot that part. And I just don't see, we say it every year. I don't see how Greer can skate on this. I don't see how Weaver can skate on it. And I hate to say it. I don't see how Mike can skate on it. I just think this thing is not heading in a good direction. I think, we're looking at 6-11 maybe, and it's just going to be we're going to have a lot of conversations at the end of this year on whether or not they should be winning or not. Like they might win a couple games just because they can out-talent a team, or there'll be an injury here that plays in. But it's run its course. And I think we knew that. I thought them being competitive against the Bills was a good sign, but not an indicator necessarily that this thing was going to reverse itself. The win against the Jets didn't really show me much, again, because of the turnover disparity and sort of the lucky bounces of that game. And then you look at this, and this is just unacceptable. You can't be up 17-0 on a team like that in that place. Just to close it, this is a franchise that has been so beleaguered in recent years that 2 guys announced that they were ending their popular Panthers podcast because it wasn't worth spending time away from their families. And Bleacher Report actually posted that all over the place. It was on this. That's the kind of franchise that this has been the past few years. And the Dolphins just got basically outscored by them 27-7, giving up almost 250 towards the end of that game, giving up almost 250 yards on the ground. It's cooked. It's cooked. That's where we're at.
So what's the more bad vibes in terms of, I have to ask, this year's a new year for the Heat, but worst vibes running it back, the Dolphins this year or the Heat last year?
Oh, it's definitely this because because again, it comes down to this for the 2 franchises. There's a confidence in one of the 2 franchises that because the people have had success before and they're all still there, that as long as they catch up to the times, that they will figure it out. There is no evidence that these people in charge with the Dolphins will ever figure anything out. In fact, there's basically 3 decades with different regimes of evidence that they won't. And so when you run something back, you're not going to have confidence in it. I'm not saying the Heat have made every right decision. They haven't. But now you can start to see them coming out of it. Jovic getting the extension. He looks like a player who's going to pop. They get Norm Powell for nothing. Okay, now they got a decision to make on Tyler. But again, you trust them that they're not going to do a lot of Terry Rozier's. You don't trust that the Dolphins are not going to do a lot of things that they've done, and that's really where they're at. All right, use that code 5FIVE. Keep us in business, if not the Dolphins. Go to PrizePicks, play it. Night game tonight, obviously Monday night game. We'll be back next week. I think I'll be at the stadium. I think plenty of good seats available. Have a good one, everybody.